Alright, so in this lesson, we're going to start to look at three-dimensional figures. So far in geometry, we've only dealt with two-dimensional figures, and those were flat figures on a flat surface. But now the figures are going to become three-dimensional. They're going to become something that you could reach out and touch if you wanted to. And so we're not going to do much in the way of computation today. We're just going to look at some 3D figures, and we're going to look at how to identify them and how to talk about them. So your goal for today is I can name and identify 3D figures based on their characteristics. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. So this page here is not in your notes, but it's just some kind of important information. A lot of it you already know. These here are 2D figures. They are flat figures, and so these are some of the flat figures that we've been dealing with so far in geometry. But what's important here is it tells the number of sides that they have and the number of corners that they have. And we're going to look at that with 3D figures now as well. So for example, here you have a trapezoid. A trapezoid has 4 sides, and it also has 4 corners. And corners are angles here. Just like that. Okay? Then you have a rhombus and a kite, etc., etc. Alright, so let's get into some vocabulary. So a solid is a three-dimensional figure, and it has a length, it has a width, and it has a height. Okay, so here I have an example. It's a picture of a cube, and you can see that the height is up and down, the length is side to side, and the width is how deep it is. How far back does it go? So that's a solid. And again, when you think of solid, if you go back to science, solid is something that you can usually touch. Okay, so now we have the word face. So a face is a flat surface that is on the solid. So you could think of it as being one of the sides of the solid. Okay, so this is a face, this is a face, this is a face. And there are more faces to this cube here. We just can't see them right now. And a cube has a total of 6 faces, which we're going to talk about in a little while. So again, a face is a flat surface. Alright, now we have an edge. So the edge is the side of a 3D figure. It's where 2 faces meet. Okay, so this is a face, and this is a face. And where do they meet? They meet right here on this edge. This is another edge. You could think of it as where the 3D shape creases. This is an edge. 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 There's lots of edges. Okay, so it's where two faces come to meet. Then we have something called a vertex. So a vertex is the corner where the edges meet. Okay, so this is a face. This is an edge, and this is the vertex. Okay, so you can see this edge and this edge and this edge come to meet together right here in the vertex. Okay, and so it's important that you know the difference between a face, an edge, and a vertex. Alright, so we're going to be talking about different shapes. We're going to be talking about prisms and pyramids, lots of different shapes. And so let's first start off with prisms. So a prism is a type of 3D figure. It has 2 bases that are parallel and congruent, which means that the 2 bases are going to be the exact same dimensions. They're going to have the same measurements. They're parallel and they're congruent. Okay? All other faces of a prism are rectangles. All the other faces of a prism are rectangles. And this will make more sense once we start to play around with some of the shapes. But here we have a rectangular prism. Here we have a triangular prism because we have these triangle bases right here. And here we have a cube. Okay, now let's talk about pyramids. So a pyramid only has one base. Okay, and it's what it sits on. That's the base. All the other faces of a pyramid are triangles. Now there's two types of triangles that we're going to talk about this year. We're going to talk about the triangular pyramid because it has a triangle base. And we're going to talk about a square pyramid because it has a square base. But you could see that all the other faces are triangles. Alright, now a cylinder we're just going to talk about today and tomorrow, but we're not going to do any calculations with cylinders. However, it is important to know what they are. So a cylinder has two bases that are circular. This is one base right here, and this is the other base right here. And it has a curved surface. And so the cylinder actually does not have any vertexes. You'll talk more about cylinders next year. Alright, cone is another one that we're going to talk about for a couple days, but we're not going to be calculating anything mathematically with it. So a cone has one base that's circular, and you can see that base right here. And it has a curved surface that comes to a point right here. And that's a cone. Upside down ice cream cone. Alright. A sphere is a round, solid figure. A sphere is completely round. It's like a globe. Alright. Okay, so let's start to look and classify some of these 3D figures. Okay, so here we have what's called a rectangular prism. So here is a rectangular prism, okay? How many faces does it have? It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Has 6 faces. How many edges does it have? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So it has 12 edges. And how many vertices or vertexes does it have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it has 8 vertexes. Remember, a vertex is where two or more edges come together to form a point. Alright, so let's look at another one here. So this is called a cube. And a cube looks like a lot like a rectangular prism. Alright, so how many faces does a cube have? Well, it has the top and the bottom is 1 and 2. And then it has the ones on the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 plus 4 is 6. How many edges does the cube have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So 12 edges. And how many vertices or vertexes does it have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Has 8. And what do you notice about the rectangular prism and the cube? What you should see is that their faces, edges, and vertices, the numbers are exactly the same. Alright, let's move on to number 3. So here we have what's called a triangular prism. And this is a triangular prism because it has two bases that are triangles. So here's a triangle and here's a triangle. But all the other sides are rectangles, and that's what makes it a prism. So let's see how many faces it has. Well, it has the two triangles, 1 and 2. and then it has this one here, so this is 3. It has the one on the bottom, 4, and then it has one on the side, 5. So 5 faces. Now let's see how many edges it has. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it has 9 edges. And let's see how many vertices it has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it comes to a point 6 times, 6 different vertices. Okay? All right, so here we have something called a square pyramid, but you may also hear this called a rectangular pyramid. So go ahead and write both down, and I'm going to explain the difference. Very easy. So first of all, the reason why this is called a pyramid is because the sides of it all come to a point at the top, and they're all triangles. Now, look at the base for a minute, and it's this guy right here is the base. Okay? If the base is a square, it's called a square pyramid. If the base is a rectangle, it's called a rectangle pyramid. Pretty simple. All right, so how many faces do we have here? Well, we have the bottom base, which is 1. And then we have the side panel 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have 5 faces. How many edges? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 8 edges. And how many vertices? So where does it come to a point? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 vertices. Excellent. Okay, now this one is also a pyramid, but what shape is the bottom, the base? It's a triangle. So this is called a triangular pyramid. Okay. So how many faces does it have? Well, it has the bottom, which is 1, and it has this side, which is 2, this side, which is 3, and then the other side, which is 4. So 4 faces. How many edges does it have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And how many vertices does it have? 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 vertices. Alright, and we're going to skip those two. We're going to get into that next time. So this is actually the end of the lesson. Again, a quick introduction to 3D figures. We're going to play around with them a lot more, and you'll get used to them in absolutely no time. Rewind if you need to, or always ask me questions in class.